In this tutorial, we are going to learn about the Clones Stamp tool, which can help you heal bigger blemishes and solve bigger problems. And these are some of the other codes that we will look at. So in the Tools panel, I want to go down a couple from the Spot Healing Brush tool to the Clone Stamp tool. And then we get a big brush, and I want to shrink the size of this brush, and I can do that by clicking the left arrow bracket key, and I could increase the size of it by clicking the right bracket key. That's the key right next to the letter P on your keyboard. Alternatively, I can right-click and adjust the size with this slider. I don't prefer this method just because I can't see what I am doing, and I have to move it in and then check. But if I use the keyboard shortcut so that I could see what I am doing. So I am going to zoom in here to these little houses and the lighthouse. I want to get rid of these. Now actually, if we use the Spot Healing Brush tool, the Spot Healing Brush tool is brilliant enough. But if we click on this and paint, it will do an amazing job of getting rid of it, even keeping that little diagonal line on mountain. So that might be the best tool for the job. I am going to go ahead on Command Z or Control Z to undo that. So I want to show you how you do that with the Concept tool. We will find the Concept can work wonders that the Spot Healing Brush, but no way I will do so. I am going to click the left bracket key to reduce the size of my brush, about the size of one of these houses. Now with the Clone Stamp, allow us to do is take data from one part of the image and paste it onto another part of the image, rather paint it on another part of the image, which again is very powerful. So I am just going to go down here. I'm going to hold down the Option key on the Mac or the Alt key on the PC, a little across there, and that determines which area we are going to be sampling from. So I am going to, with the Option key, hold down. I click once on the sample, and then you could see that my brush now is loaded with this information. So I am going to be painting with this part of the image. So now if I paint over this, see that we have covered that up, and you can actually see the repeating texture that this little shape is just like that little shape. So I might want to sample from over here, maybe something a little bit less conspicuous. Then I could start clicking and dragging and painting every one, so I could use a little artifacts over here. So I could just come over here and click, and the trick here is to keep kind of sampling from different areas. And painting, and also click the edge of the cliff and then paint with the edge of the cliff here. Now what's happening here while we are getting this extra party image ghosting here is that Workshop is actually sampling the image before you clone it. So I am actually going to press Command Z to undo that. So if I sample that right here, for example, it's going to be sampling this part of the mountain with the lighthouse there. So if I keep on dragging upwards, then the lighthouse is going to show up in my paint. So what I need to do is Option click the sample, and then click once to paint, and then let go, and then click another time to paint. And so, instead of dragging, I am clicking once and let it go, and clicking another and letting go. We have some artifacts here against the edges, and we could sample the sky to repaint this here. And so again, this has kind of come back and forth where I am clicking and dragging, kind of rebuilt what was there, and it takes a little bit of work, but the point is I could customize whatever is there or was there by covering it up. There is a little bit of leftover junk there. Some I press the left bracket key, sample some sky view over here, and then come over here and paint that here so it's a little bit cleaner of an edge. So there we go. We fixed that a little bit. So I take some data from this part of the mountain and paste over it. I don't think that's a good idea to do, which is actually about exercising that I didn't do right now. And I know I look back, but I can create a new layer. and then change the sample drop down from the current layer, which won't work right now because there is nothing on this layer. If I option click that and then try to paint, it won't do any good because there is nothing on this layer. So you choose a sample from current layer to all layers, and so that will allow me to sample from all layers, and then it will paint on just that later. But if I don't like it, I can do it. But work got here is a paint on the background layer, which is a no-no because I can't undo that. I can see the original date anymore. It's gone. So it's always good to paint on a separate layer. I will do that now with this exercise. Now, because what we are doing with the clone stamp tool or copying data and pasting it somewhere else, we can use this not only for covering up big blemishes, we can also use this for copying data as well. So I can increase the size of my brush here. An option click on this bird and go over here and paint and make another bird. And that again, option click and make another bird. And I can option click on this bird and explore him. And yeah, this is a great way to make armies, as you can imagine, or a flock of birds, or marbles, or whatever else you want to bunch of on your image. But the constant tool is not only good for removing blemishes like this lighthouse, or adding objects like the signals, it's really great too if you want to get rid of an entire portion of your image. If you want to remove somebody from a photo, you could clone stamp data to get rid of this. Say, for example, you want to get rid was Big Rock. We can clone stamp Sky. She want to take out the brush down a little bit and zoom in, but we would want a sample from the sky. And over here, that the sample from the water. And over here, you mean over there, and that way we could get rid of bigger blemishes such as this rock here. Again, if this was a boat or another person in a photo or whatever, we just take data from somewhere else and paint it there to get rid of stuff that we don't want in our image.